What's up guys, Mark here, back with another quick design video, and in this one I just wanted to talk to you and show you a little bit about the way that I draw skulls. For me personally, I draw a skull pretty much every single day. It's become kind of part of my drawing warm-up every morning. Before I get stuck into any client work, I like to just draw a few skulls for a bit of fun. One of the things I like about them is that you can do pretty much anything you want with them. You can customize them endlessly, so yeah, let's get stuck in. So for me personally, I make a draft layer when I'm doing my sketching. I drop the opacity really low and drop the opacity on the brush as well, so I can just faintly sketch. So for me personally, everything always starts with the eyes. I guess when I draw the eyes, it sort of tells me the direction that the skull is going to face, so I kind of base the angles off of that all the time. So I start by just sketching out the eyes and just drawing sort of a rough triangle between them to sort of set out where the nose would be. If you want to, you can also just draw half the skull, and technically you could just copy paste it and then reflect it to make sure it's symmetrical. So after I do that, I like to draw in the cheekbones and work my way down the skull. I actually save the forehead and the actual top of the skull till the very end. I like to just sketch in the cheekbones, and then I do some jaw lines just underneath that. When it comes time to do the teeth, I just like to quickly sketch in a few circles where the teeth would be. I like to keep my skulls pretty simple, as you can probably tell. It's not overly detailed. I don't worry too much about exactly how many teeth there are going to be, or how symmetrical they are and stuff like that. It's important when you're drawing in the jawline as well, down from the cheekbones, to make sure you leave a little bit of space. You can see where I've just kind of blacked that little bit out. That's the gap between the jawline and the rest of the skull. After I've done the jaw, I start sketching up the side of the head and trying to work out roughly where the top of the head would sit. Sometimes it does take me a little while to actually get the top to looking sort of half decent, really. And that's totally fine. Sometimes it just looks a bit awkward and you just have to play with it a bit more. Once I'm happy with the overall shape of the draft sketch, what I do is I make a new layer, and then with that set at maximum opacity, I set the brush back to be maximum opacity as well, so I get nice solid black lines. And pretty much the same process. Start with the eyes and start blacking everything in. And you'll see here that I make a few changes on the fly as well. Add a little bit of extra detail to the nose and the other eye. These two eyes technically aren't quite the same size, but that's fine with me. I like my work to be a little bit kind of quirky like that. So at the moment, I'm just sort of following along the existing guidelines, trying to sketch in where I think the side of the head should come out there from the eyes in a way that looks sort of natural. I think with this skull, the cheekbones are fairly pronounced, maybe even a little bit too much, but that's alright. Like I said, another thing that's really good about skulls is that you can customize them so much that you can do anything with it. You could make the eye sockets squares, you could make them triangles, you could make them weird wavy circles. You can literally just do whatever shapes you want and still make something cool. You'll notice I'm using the rotate tool a couple of times here as well. I use that just to make it easier. It's easier to draw a line straight up and down than it is to draw it from left to right or right to left, so you just press R on the keyboard to get that one. After that, I just start drawing in the teeth again with the circles, and then all I have to do is draw a line straight through the middle of them to create the impression of teeth. At the moment, the forehead feels a bit kind of bare, I guess, so I add in this little dimple, start thinking about some other little details I can add into the cheekbones and the mouth area. And then just to add a little bit more character to it, I add in a little crack in the skull. So there you can see the completed version next to the original sketch as well. After that, I decided to draw one that was at a bit more of an angle, so that you could see a different perspective. Again, you'll notice that the eyes that I draw straight away tells me the angle that the skull is going to be facing. So with the eyes in place, I start drawing in some other details. It's important to note that the other eye, the one furthest away, would be thinner because it's sort of, the skull is turned around, so that's a good way to give the impression that the skull is facing a different direction. Then I also kept the nose a little bit thinner as well for that same reason. After that, again, I progress to the cheekbones and then onto roughly where the jawline is. So because we have the side angle here, we can do a bit more with the jaw, which is cool. Add some more details to it. I went really simple on the teeth on this one. If you're familiar with my work, I like to keep things really simple and just really bold and kind of basic, I guess. A good way to kind of add a bit of depth to the skull when you're doing these side-on views is to shade in the area on the side of the head where it's sort of indented as well. Once I'm fairly happy with the rough sketch, again, another new layer, and just straight in with the solid black. After that, I just start following the rest of the sketch that I've drawn, make a few little tweaks to the shape here along the way, just to add a bit more depth and, you know, just make it a little bit more realistic. And yeah, there you have it, guys. So there's the two skulls side by side. I hope you guys found this helpful. I know it's just a quick time lapse with a little bit of instruction, but I figured rather than trying to explain how to draw it, it'd probably be better to just let you watch the way that I draw each line. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions about the process or anything you see here, just check those in the comments. And yeah, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you wouldn't mind giving the video a thumbs up, that would be awesome. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.